Good afternoon. It's 4 o'clock. Time for Easy News. I'm Mike Woodward. First, Taiwan news. According to the Council of Agriculture's preliminary test, none of the 37 fish feed samples collected from local producers contain melamine, the toxic chemical found in tainted China-made dairy products. The COA's test results come 2 days after the revelation that 180,000 kilograms of contaminated fish feed from one manufacturer in Pingdong County had been sold nationwide. COA officials say they will continue to test live fish samples from fish farms and see whether there's melamine residue in the meat or internal organs. But so far, experts and officials cannot agree on how much residue of melamine in fish would be deemed safe, nor can they decide on the limit of the substance allowed in fish feed. The Fisheries Agency Director, Shajer yesterday said that even if fish did eat tainted feed, the possibility of having melamine in its meat is extremely low.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. I'm Liz Tsai, and it's time for Easy News on ICRT. Chinese philanthropist Chen Guangbiao donated roughly 6.7 million NT dollars to disadvantaged residents in Hsinchu County yesterday. Chen is in Taiwan for a heavily publicized philanthropic tour of the country. According to Chen, his charity is in response to the outpouring of support Taiwanese showed for Chinese victims after the 2008 Sichuan earthquake. He says he plans to donate 500 million NT dollars in total to the poor in Taiwan. The tycoon made his fortune recycling construction materials and is well known in China for the extravagant way he carries out charity work. Chen is scheduled to continue his tour in Nantou and Hualien during the remainder of his trip. The government says it is considering putting a tax on the sale of betel nuts in order to reduce consumption and generate revenue. Minister of Health Yang Zhiliang said a tax of 0.13 NT dollars could be imposed once technical problems have been resolved. However, he admitted that implementing a tax could be difficult as, unlike cigarettes, betel nuts are harvested by private farmers and selling them does not require a business license. Betel nuts are the country's biggest cash crop, with over 50,000 hectares under cultivation and 8.6 billion NT dollars worth of production, more than double that of rice.
In international news, tributes continue to flood in for Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, who died Wednesday in the US. Apple stores worldwide have become unofficial memorials, with people leaving photographs, notes, fresh apples, and even old iPhones as tributes. These people outside New York City's flagship Apple store reflect on Jobs' passing.
The legacy is that everybody is computer savvy because of not the current Apple stuff, but because of the old 2G. That's what got everybody started with computers.
His legacy, I can tell you, the man who reinvented the wheel.
In 100 years from now, they could be relating him to Einstein.
Meanwhile, the AP's Robert Ray reports, what's next for Apple now Jobs has died?
From the personal computer to the iPod, iPhone, and iPad, this iconic, savvy, and creative figure changed the game, the rules, and more. And while Apple continues their mission to invest in new products that change the way people live, the legacy of America's great entrepreneur, Steve Jobs, is strong.
We'll see whether Steve Jobs created a culture that has that same kind of dynamism, that he brought himself to the business.
Apple shares dipped slightly in reaction to the passing, but gained momentum again late in the day. Robert Ray, Chicago.
Singer Makio and her friend Takateru Tomoyori has reached an all-out-of-court settlement with a taxi driver they allegedly assaulted last month. The pair will pay the driver 3 million NT dollars in compensation for the February 2nd incident. A final hearing on the settlement is slated for April 5th at the Taipei District Court, during which prosecutors are expected to request the pair receive probationary sentences.
Hey, how you doing? This is Windows Vista. This is the new exciting operating system from Microsoft. I would have loved to have upgraded to it, and you would think with the disk and everything I would have been able to do that, but I popped it in my machine, and it seems to be incompatible with everything I have in my computer. Now you're probably saying, this computer's probably old. No, it's brand new, and it just didn't work. I got the blue screen of death numerous times, and I'm going to see if I can load it into another machine that I think will be a little more compatible than my computer. First, read the instructions first. There we go. Okay, that sounds easy. How about yeah. Simple. And then good. All right. After you take care of the instructions, then pull out your disk. Your Windows Vista disk. Look at that. Isn't that nice and shiny and pretty? Like all Microsoft products. Now, load this into your machine. See, it's not even loading well on this machine, is it? Oh, I'll get it to work in this one, though. There we go. It's loaded. And let's see. Yep, there it is. All ready to use. Wonderful. And that's how you install Windows Vista.
And in news for the tragedy of it, authorities believe a man in Washington state was killed by accidentally urinating on a downed power line after a car crash. Grays Harbor County Sheriff's Deputy Dave Pimentel says 50-year-old Roy Messenger was not seriously hurt after he collided with a power pole and called a relative to pull his car from a ditch. However, family members found Messenger electrocuted when they arrived.
If you power down your cell phone, there's no way the government could ever hear you. Certainly not the FBI. It's turned off, right? Have we got news for you? All right, here's that cell phone story you've been waiting for. Cell phone users beware, Big Brother may be listening. The Federal Bureau of Investigation can now hear everything you say, even when the cell phone is turned off. I know it sounds kind of out there, but using your phone's tracking device, authorities can now activate the microphone inside the dreaded thing, allowing them to eavesdrop on you and your conversations. Serious business, and the FBI used this form of surveillance to keep tabs on critical conversations by people they call known members of the mafia. Experts say the only way around it is to take the battery out of the thing.